Welcome to Lehman College's 2025 Fall Convocation. At this time, we ask that you please rise as our program is about to begin. Please welcome our distinguished faculty, led by Faculty Marshal Dr. Celia Cruz, Doctoral Lecturer, Department of Mathematics and Middle and High School Education. Welcome the President's Party, led by Lehman College's Deputy Grand Marshal, Dr. Bertrand Ngidol Banoun, Associate Professor, Department of Africana Studies. And now please welcome the stage party, led by Lehman College's Grand Marshal, Dr. Patricia Cole, Professor, Department of Social Work. Please remain standing as the New York Police Department Ceremonial Unit proceeds with the presentation of the colors. And now again, please welcome the stage party, led by Lehman College's Grand Marshal, Dr. Patricia Cole, Professor, Department of Social Work. Please continue to stand for our national anthem, performed by Timothy Pomios from our Department of Human Resources.
Oh, Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land and of the free and the home of the brave?
Please take your seats and welcome our Master of Ceremonies, Jorge Silva Puras, Provost and Senior Vice President for Academic Affairs and Student Success.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, and good morning. Good morning. Buenos dias. It is really a pleasure to be here. You know, this is my, does this sound okay? There you go. This is my, believe it or not, my third convocation, Fernando. You know, time flies when you're having fun. It seems only yesterday I arrived here at Lehman, and I must say it's been a wonderful, wonderful ride, and I hope it will continue to be that for many years to come, because as I like to say, every time we have an occasion like this, Lehman is a very special place, thanks to all of you, to our friends, our families, our students, our staff, our faculty. You all make this college what Fernando likes to call the crown, not the jewel of the crown, but the entire crown, right, Fernando? You know, I got that right, correct? Yes, see? So I like to, I'm going to be brief. I really usually don't write a speech. I just put a couple of bullets, and I try to be as conversational as possible in this type of events, because I think it's better to communicate a message and connect with all of you in terms of what I see based on my 2 and a little bit more years here at Lehman, what I see we have done, and more importantly, what we are facing into the future. So I'd like to start by highlighting some of the key achievements of the last year. And when I say some, I mean very briefly, because if I had to list every single achievement that we have done here, either with staff, faculty, or students, we would be here all day. And I'm sure as much as you like to be here, you probably don't want to be here all day, right? But I do want to celebrate a couple of really important highlights. This year, we welcome, on the academic side, on academic excellence side, we welcome our first cohort of PhD students in human performance and fitness. So we have a PhD, and I don't know if Gal and her group are here, but congratulations, Gal. And you'll see why this is an important comment to start with as we get into research in a moment. We also are welcoming the first cohort in our Master of Science in Health Services Administration. Thank you, Gloria, and your team, because you you come a long way. You come a long way, so thank you, thank you. Another highlight I would like to make is a new Bachelor of Science, the first at CUNY, on data analytics and artificial intelligence, and we are the first throughout the system. So I know Baruch is preparing to launch another one, but hey, ours is the first, and it's going to be the best. So congratulations to you as well. Apart from that, our faculty has secured multiple competitive grants, and we will continue pursuing those. No matter what the national environment, particularly the federal level, is. Brandon Beggarly, I think, is here somewhere. There you are. Brandon is our oracle, right? That's what he very wisely selected as the acronym for his unit. And he's overseeing all the efforts for us to make sure that we tap into every single opportunity we have in terms of research. Again, second point connecting to what I'm going to say in a couple of minutes. Now, let me highlight a couple of our faculty members. And I do want to mention two of them. They're both here because they are the most recent examples of how our faculty is being recognized globally in terms of publications, both in national publications like the top journals in their fields, but also publishing books. And the two individuals I'd like to highlight are Professor Naomi Sack. Where's Naomi? There she is. Thank you. We just published one of several, and top university press. I mean, you cannot go much higher than Oxford University Press, right? So congratulations, Naomi. And also our very own Mila Burns, which I think is also here in the audience. Where's Mila? Where are you? There she is. And just a public announcement, right after the convocation, she's going to present her latest book at 12 in the library, so I hope you can join us. So again, I just mentioned the two of them, but it's really a representation of the wealth of knowledge and commitment and scholarship and excellence in our faculty here. Now, I do also, on the academic excellence, want to highlight two individuals. And those are very special members of the faculty. They're going to be recognized today. The first one is Professor Celia Cruz. Where's Celia? There she is. Our Professor of the Year, and we'll hear more from her momentarily. And Michael Galindo, who's not here, but you will also hear from him. He's the Adjunct of the Year. Now, so in terms of aspirations for the year ahead, and again, going in an order similar to the one I just described in terms of achievements, I think it's important for us to highlight what we aspire on research, what we aspire on teaching, and what we aspire on innovation. So those three topics are the ones that I want to highlight today. Research, teaching, and innovation. I think all of them are interrelated. Let's talk about research. Some of you are familiar with the fact that we are already a research university as classified by Carnegie, right? So that is a great achievement. But as our dearly beloved president likes to say, we're not going to stay there. We want to aspire to better and bigger research classifications. And the next echelon in that classification is what Carnegie calls R2, a Research 2 institution, which puts us in a very selective group of colleges nationwide. Now, in order to achieve that, we have to meet two criteria. The first one is how much money we spend on a yearly basis on research, what is called research expenditures. And to become R2, we need to meet an annual expenditure of at least $5 million. The good news is we're already there, right, Brandon? We have been there for a couple of years already, 2 years. So we are perfectly well suited to meet that criteria in terms of expenditures. Now, there's a second criteria. We need to graduate at least 20 doctoral researchers per year, right? And that's where that PhD that I mentioned earlier comes into play. We obviously also have the educational doctorate. We're starting our third cohort and in the School of Education, and we're very proud of those cohorts, which will be a primary source of those PhD research doctoral students who graduate and will allow us to reach R2. Fernando and I are also working with our friends in CUNY Central to see if we can get credit for about 35 PhD students who actually do the research, work in our labs, are mentored by our faculty, but they are not considered Lehman PhD graduates. They're considered CUNY Graduate Center graduates. I don't know. Call me crazy, but I don't think that's fair. No. See? He's saying no, not fair. So if we can, but of course we're not going to stay there. We are going to continue aspiring to that classification, and some of you might say, well, what's important about that? Well, it's a virtuous cycle. Once we get to R2, that will attract students, that will attract faculty, that will attract researchers, that will attract and allow us to pursue grants that currently we cannot pursue. So it is really the goal and how we want and will move forward. So there are other plans. I will not make them public yet. Maybe for next convocation we will be in a position to go into details as to it. But it is really something that we are very much conscious of. But research, in my mind at least, serves teaching. And that's where I want to segue to the second element of the three that I mentioned: research, teaching, and innovation. It's fantastic that we do top and breakthrough research, but that research has to be at the service of our students, graduate and undergraduate students. That research has to be to allow our students to learn how to do research themselves and eventually progress in their academic journeys, their academic careers. So for teaching, one of the things that we aspire to is exemplified by a quote I got actually 2 days ago. I'm not going to name the professor who shared it with me, but I do want to quote the student. And the quote says as follows: "Dear Professor, I am finally a Lehman College graduate. I finished my last class on August 13, 2025. I wanted to make a moment to sincerely thank you for this amazing and wonderful opportunity. I truly enjoyed having you as a professor 3 times. Meeting you has opened my eyes to so many new things. Thank you for believing in us and for encouraging us to keep moving forward, no matter what challenges we face." And if that were a unique comment from our students, I would say, well, maybe it's an outlier, but no. I received multiple comments like those from your students. And that shows the commitment that you as faculty members have. It shows the commitment that our students have when they are encountered with leaders in their disciplines and leaders and mentors, because you as faculty members have, as you well know, a duty that goes beyond just the academic. And that's what I like to encourage by making a link to the third item, which is innovation. And with that, I will conclude and allow President Delgado to provide remarks. Innovation, as you know, is affecting our field tremendously. Nobody here can deny that improvements, if we call them improvements, in technology are affecting us, are affecting the way we teach. I met recently with the history department, and one of the professors told me, well, Provost, the fact of the matter is that I became a professor to teach my discipline, not to be a policewoman, not to police students, not to spend half of my time figuring out whether that essay was written by the student or by ChatGPT, right? And she was absolutely correct. And that's the challenge that I want to leave in your minds, and I invite all of you to participate in this endeavor. I do hope that in this academic year, 25-26, we will be able to, as a group, as a collective, as a community, decide what is the appropriate place for technology in our classrooms. Some of you who know me from many years ago might remember I came initially in administration at CUNY as the Dean of SPS, the School of Professional Studies. That's the primary online institution in the CUNY system. And You might think that because of that background, I would be very much in favor of expanding our fully online programs. It's precisely because I have seen how much we fail students when we do that I think we need to reassess how we teach here at Lehman College, and that's the invitation I want to extend to all of you. I think particularly in the asynchronous space, where you rarely see your professor, where you rarely interact with your classmates, no matter how well designed that course is, we're missing an interesting and absolutely important opportunity for our students to grow academically, mentally, as individuals. So what I invite you to do is, as we continue pursuing a better understanding of how technology like AI, like the new LMS Brightspace and others are used towards at Lehman and towards achieving academic success for our students, that you help me, that you help each other to figure out how and why we will leverage technology for the benefit of the students. Okay? It's a big challenge. Nobody knows really what's going to happen in a few years. If I had this conversation a year ago, we might think differently than what is happening today. And I'm sure a year, 2, 3 from now, it's going to be quite a different scenario. So we need to be prepared for it. Not only Lehman, and the entire higher education sector has to be ready for it. Because again, our primary purpose here is to make sure that our students succeed, that they're ready not for their first career, that they're ready for their entire journey and their entire productive life. So with that, thank you very much. Again, welcome to this convocation, and I hope to see you right afterward. Thank you.
First, Professor Burns, Professor Zach. Geez, writing about totalitarianism in 1970s Latin America. How timely, right? And Professor Zach, really? I mean, at this stage, how about some non-controversial subject matter, huh? Who knew that the marketplace of free ideas would be so controversial in 2025? For some of you who are close to my age who went to school, especially those of us wearing the funny hats and outfits, a lot of us went to school and we had professors. Brilliant men and women, at least in my case, thankfully, who told us about this 100 years long Enlightenment project. And I remember one of them asking a question, John Nelson from Political Science. I wonder when the Enlightenment project would end. Sometimes I fear we're closer to the end than to the middle with some of the stuff I see on television. But happily, at Lehman, we continue the project of enlightenment, because sometimes facts are facts, events did happen, and knowledge can be pursued in all forms of manner in every discipline, including the creative. The other thing I had an opportunity to do the last few days is visit my daughters in Minnesota. And I love going to my old stomping grounds, the University of Minnesota, because I could be anonymous now, whereas when I used to work there, I wasn't anonymous, and I didn't like the nickname I had, the Grim Reaper. So it's good to be on campus where I'm at least benignly neglected. But I was reading a story while my daughter was sort of figuring out her course pack. And it was a story about provosts. And I'm a recovering 2-time provost. I spent 12 years as a provost in Minnesota and Wisconsin, hence the nickname the Grim Reaper. And at the end of it, I thought 2 things. First, oh, I'm so glad I'm not a provost anymore. And second, I'm so glad I have him as a provost. There were a few other things by the recovering provost who was part of the story that I took to heart in terms of way a president can be better to his or her provost. And I will strive to be a better president to our provost. Not least of which is don't always think, he's got it, he's got it. These are complicated times for all of us. I wrote a note last week as I was heading off to Minnesota to a faculty member at the University of Minnesota. Just a brief note, 6 sentences, because my daughter took it upon her to call me and first check what time I was arriving and then make sure that I was getting a rental car so she didn't have to come to the airport to pick me up because she cares. And second, to tell me about this professor that she had in her capstone class. And it's rare for her to go on and on about her professor. She's an English major, by the way. I know, right? And she actually likes reading and writing. Made sure that I did not write this speech with ChatGPT, which she hates. She went on and on about this professor, and I smiled, and she said, "Why are you smiling, Dad?" And I said, "Well, honey, we're sitting here on the Zoom call, and the professor you're talking about, when I first came out of graduate school, I used to use his work to help ground my work. He was always part of my literature reviews." And her first response was, "Dang, I didn't know both of you were that old." And I said, "Well, honey, I didn't know I had paid your tuition yet." But I wrote him a note, and I just thanked him for being the professor he's always been and for impressing my daughter enough that she would comment on how impressed she was, not only by his erudition and the way that he commanded that capstone class, but for being just a presence that was inspiring. And we forget that sometimes as faculty members, right? We forget sometimes we walk into spaces, and just by virtue of what we know, and most certainly how we impart it, we inspire students who, like my daughter, too shy to approach them. So I did not tell her I sent this email. And he sent an email back. And I showed my daughter that email. I did not show her what I sent him. Of course, her response was, "I'm literally still throwing up in the parking lot. I can't believe you did that." But here's what he wrote. For those of you professors who don't think you make a difference, and for those of you students who don't think you make a difference in our lives. Dear Professor Delgado, it was very kind of you to send such a lovely email. You have no idea, or maybe you do, how much it means to me to receive it. Thank you. I have a better sense of how lucky I am to have Marisol as a student. She's brilliant, warmly and all the best. So there was my daughter thinking that Professor Timothy Brennan from the University of Minnesota had made such an impact on his life. And she didn't realize that even in those 3 short class periods, she had made enough of an impact on his life amidst all the undergraduate honors students and the many doctoral and master's students that he's in charge of in the English, Humanities, and Cultural Studies departments, that it registered in him. And that's the beautiful dynamic of being in the classroom, right? Now, I followed up by telling her, you don't have class on Monday, we should invite him out for lunch. And she said, Dad, if you do that, I will wait till you fall asleep. And I will smother you with a pillow. And then I'll invite him to your funeral. So we'll have lunch with Professor Brennan at a different time. I say all of that not because I like to make fun of my daughter, but because I wanted to start by saying, I got a PhD from the University of Iowa, not because I wanted to be a university president, but because I wanted to make a difference in and out of the classroom. Because professors had made a difference in my life. They had found things in me that I didn't know existed. They had tested me in ways I didn't know I could respond to. And they had supported me through things I didn't think I could make it through. Not all of them, and not all the time, but enough of them all of the time, in ways that I still can only appreciate at a superficial level, because I don't know how much effort they put into me and all the other students they were putting in effort. But for the faculty in the room, You may not always agree with what we do. I may not always be popular. Sometimes I'm not even funny. But you always make a difference in somebody's life. And I will always respect the work that you do because I know where it comes from. It comes as much from your soul and your heart as it does from your considerable brains. And students, understand that when you think the professors are being mean, they're not. They're challenging you. They're testing you. They're not perfect people. No one is, but they care. They care about you. They care about your success. They care passionately about the material they're teaching. Because graduate school isn't easy. It ain't for the faint of heart. As I look back at it now, I think, why did that 22-year-old kid pack up his his Firebird, and drive from the San Francisco Bay Area to go to Iowa? What the hell was I thinking? And yet when I look at those fast 5 years in Iowa and what I learned from those professors in and out of the classroom and the passion that they ignited, I understand why I went to Iowa and why I'm grateful I went. Because they formed me into a professor, into the best kind of professor, a curious professor, an engaged professor, a professor whose best days, okay, when you're untenured, when you get the letter that says your article has been accepted, that's a really good day. But oftentimes the best days are when you see even just that one metaphorical light go on above a student's head. And you're like, today I made a difference. Today I had an impact. Today they got it. Because we're always in service of translating that knowledge and making it stick. So, to all the students, respect the hard work and the sacrifices that you're making. And to all the faculty, for all the noise that's around us, for all the ups and downs that are within the academy, please persevere. Your work is too important. You are too valuable for us to give up. Now, that was my off-the-cuff stuff. Here's the script. Oh, this is going to be a cool transition. It is a pleasure to see you all here today to formally celebrate the opening of the 2025 academic year. As we move forward through the semester, we also maintain the fervent hope that the academic year will prove to be once more an opportunity for all of our students to learn and be supported, and for our faculty and staff to do what they do best, create a learning, discovery, and creative environment that delivers on its promise and makes a difference in the borough and beyond. And to all of my staff and faculty colleagues, thank you for all your years of dedication and excellence. It's obvious to all that these are turbulent and uncertain times. Those people at risk seem to be ever more so, and some who would work to enable a more even playing field. We appear to also be at increasing risk. But at Lehman, we strive to maintain stability and a vigorous but safe learning environment. We are ever looking forward. Lehman continues to build on its proud history. Our academic programs remain vital, and new programs, responsive to social, economic, and academic challenges, are emerging. Similarly, as we continue to welcome new staff and faculty, and by the way, if this is your first semester at Lehman and you're a faculty or staff, please stand up. Come on, David. Welcome to campus. Don't be burdened by our nearly 60-year history. Don't mess up. For much of this year and next, we will have to say, pardon our dust, as we do maintenance and upgrades across our campus. In fact, 14 out of our 18 buildings at this point will be impacted by significant progress. That's right, Charlotte, 14 out of 18? 14 out of 18. 15 out of 18. Oof. Oof. I'll be having my meetings in my car in the parking lot for the next 18 months or so. Pending system and board approval, our colleagues at CUNY on the concourse will be joined across the street by a planned nearly 200-bed residence hall that should be available to students next August. I am told we'll be in front of a board committee the first week in October. And we strive to find base budget support for a number of programs and the planned phase 2 of our science complex. I would reiterate that, but I've already talked to Senator Jackson, so he knows what's coming. And by the way, Senator Jackson, thank you for the letter last time. It was very helpful. On campus, we remain one of CUNY's leaders in the preparation of students and their transition to career success and social mobility. Evidence of that trust is in our ability to prepare students for successful careers is our participation as a lead institution in the CUNY Beyond initiative, a multi-year and multi-million-dollar investment in Lehman to comprehensively prepare and guide students toward their career goals. And, as if to reinforce our goal to support students and programs, you will be hearing more and more about our capital campaign, Forever Forward, as we move toward the public phase of our fundraising with a kickoff event in October, celebrating Forever Forward and hopefully highlighting the need for partnership, collaboration, and investment, both in our students and in the academic and non-academics that make our student experience unparalleled. Forever Forward marks an intentional and large step toward the college's endowment to provide dedicated resources to the college. While Forever Forward is focused on traditional and private forms of philanthropy, much of our work is also done in partnership with the support of our state and city elected officials. And I'd like to call out a number of them, particularly Assemblyman George Alvarez, Councilman Oswald Felice, and Bronxborough President Vanessa Gibson, who have each pledged support to some factor of our campus, including those residence halls I just mentioned. And of course, Senator Jackson, who has been a gentleman, a scholar, and a friend of this campus since he woke up one day in redistricting said, "Here's a chunk of the Bronx, sir. Do good with it." And this gentleman shows up in the most understated ways to any number of events that he doesn't have to show up to. But the fact that he does show up to it shows that he cares and he has an interest. And we thank him for that, truly. Of course, I don't mean to exclude any of our Bronx delegation, because honestly, as a delegation, they're amazing. Truly amazing, with a passion for our borough and an abiding support for our institution. I am so thankful I get to work with so many public officials committed to their communities and willing to listen, to risk, to act. Today we're also joined, my phone just buzzed on me, by Councilman Dinowitz, a second-generation elected official, who ironically I first met on a stage over there when his inauguration occurred on this campus 4 years ago. Wasn't here. It wasn't here. That's right, it wasn't here. Vanessa's was over there, yeah. Yours were shorter. And we appreciate that too. And Eric has been a wonderful friend and neighbor. This is a gentleman who has a constituency that he has to deal with, and it's a complex constituency with multiple and competing needs. And what I've appreciated with him is that he'll call me, even sometimes after dinner. Now, understand, after dinner for me, when I'm 59 years old and I don't have kids living with me, is easy. But I know he has children. So either he's doing a sacrifice or his spouse is doing a sacrifice for him to make that call. And that call is generally to tell me something is up and how do we solve the problem. And how refreshing it is as a university employee to get a call from an elected official who A, is willing to honestly tell you, I think there's a problem out there in the community, it could affect you. Can we think about how we solve this together? I appreciate that spirit, sir. I really do. Councilman Dinowitz has been an excellent supporter and connector. I've appreciated his honesty and his engagement and his commitment, not just simply to Lehman, but we live in this ecosystem of the Bronx, to our neighbors and to our neighborhoods. His passion for education is evidence, but his commitment to the borough and his district runs deep. And I do thank him for his willingness to keep Lehman in the center of vital conversations and to seek us out to help us make a positive difference. Because when this happens, the vision, the legacy of our namesake, Herbert Lehman, is most clear and most vital. Because these gentlemen and their colleagues are very much about public service and public engagement. But think about it. Even through our research, this campus, its physical being, its intellectual heft, is also about public engagement. It's also about making a positive difference in this borough. And I think that's some of the best of Lehman. We matter because it matters to us that we're in the borough. So, thank you for joining in the celebration of our new academic year and our commitment to making a positive difference, and to the great tradition of excellence that is the hallmark of Lehman College. And whatever else those headwinds are, we'll face them together, we'll keep the ship steady, and we'll move towards that star in the future. It might be R2, it might be something else on the other side of R2, but we will continue to go steady on, because that's what we've always done at Lehman. And who we are, and who we serve, and where we sit geographically has never limited us in terms of our vision and our drive and your excellence. Thank you.
Please welcome Councilmember Eric Dinowitz.
I was told to speak close to the mic so I don't have to lean over like this. I'm taking it out. Good morning, everyone. Thank you. Oh, I never got clapped for a good morning. That's a great morning. I'm Councilman Eric Dinowitz. It's a real honor to represent Lehman College, the North Bronx, and chair the Higher Education Committee in the New York City Council. I do want to let you all know a few things. I want to assure you I only have unprepared remarks. So it's unprepared remarks and then done. And I also want to apologize. I don't have a fun, lighthearted story about a child of mine threatening to kill me while I sleep. So maybe next year I'll come up with when my kids get their own email addresses, they'll email me their death threats. But until then, I am so sorry. But before I share a few words, I do want to say a few things for the record. One, when I do those calls at night, when I do my job, it is 100% of the time my spouse doing the sacrificing. So, honey, if you're watching this, you're not. I love you, and thank you. And we're always very careful about the words we use. I don't have to deal with constituents. I get to deal with constituents. So I get, or work with them. I first of all want to thank all of you and thank just Lehman College, because something that's very important, I think, to me and so many of us in the Bronx is community. And as was mentioned, this was not just the stage where I held my inauguration, but Lehman College hosts the Bronx Opera Company and the Orchestra of the Bronx. And they host the Bronx Green Up in the dining hall just out here. And I don't know how many of you are here very late. I could say I maybe have stayed here later than you, because one night a year, coming up in January, the Department of Social Services hosts the annual Hope Count, where my team and I and volunteers from across the city at midnight go out and count the number of unhoused people living on the streets. And Lehman Host is the hub in the Northwest Bronx for the training and the launch. And there are so many ways that Lehman is part of a community. And before I was Councilman Dinowitz, I was Mr. Dinowitz. I was a public school, high school special education teacher. Like education, thank you. Like education isn't just important to me. It was what I spent almost 14 years of my life doing before I was in the city council. And I don't know if any of you are like me. Like when I went into teaching, I was like, okay, I'm good at math, so I'll be a great math teacher. I know science, so I'm going to be a good science teacher. And I very quickly learned that it is about so much more than the content. It's about the experience and the relationships that we provide to our students, the experiences we have with them. And that's why I was, I'm going to opine a little bit about what the provost mentioned about some of the online stuff, which is, you as professors, you are so much more than deliverers of content. And students, you are so much more than recipients of content. There is a beautiful symbiotic relationship that happens when you are with a professor, when you are in a classroom, and the experiences you share together extend far beyond the four walls of the classroom, far beyond when you graduate. And I think it took me a little while to learn this. I worked very hard. I said, my kids are going to pass their tests. They're going to learn lots of good stuff. And yeah, I built the relationships with them. I was during COVID, I was a terrible teacher because it was like on a screen. I couldn't do it. It was bad. It was so hard that I decided to run for public office. But what's amazing is I didn't always realize, and I think so many of you, especially for those people who are here for the first time, I don't think we all realize the impact we have on our students. And it's not till years later. I had this one student who I did a really good job. He passed the tests. He learned lots of stuff. And years later, I saw him, and he was like, Mr. Dinowitz, thank you. I really, what you taught me, I took, with me. You taught me how to tie a tie. And it was this really sweet thing, that experience that that's what he remembered. He remembered that was indicative of the relationship, not that was the skill I taught him. I taught him more than that. And another kid, he went through a terrible tragedy and he was in the hospital, and I ran into him. And it wasn't just the math and science that I taught him. He said to me, it was, Mr. Dinowitz, I was in the hospital room and it was the lessons of perseverance and resilience that you taught me that helped get me through. And of course I melted and I was like, oh no. But it was very, that's what we give to our students, and students, that's what you should expect from all your teachers, your professors. And I want to, for the professors, I guess I want to thank all of you for just building that community and being part of that community, and students for committing to a good education. And I'm gonna ask a favor. I know as a politician I'm supposed to give, but I'm gonna ask that you just think about one thing, and it's when you think about what you want to do, and I don't mean your job, I mean what you want to do. And I just ask that in answering that question, you think of it in what ways can I contribute to my community? Or in what ways can I build community? Because that's what we're all striving to do, whether we know it or not. We want to be part of something. We want to give because we want something that is better for the future generation, whether we know it or not. We don't, everything that's here, all the positions you hold, the hall we're sitting in, the teachers you have, the education they have, that exists because someone before all of us, people before all of us, built something up. And it's really incumbent upon us to build that and continue to build that and ask what more can we do. And it's going to be about so much about those experiences that we share with each other. And look, we're at a really tough time in our country. I don't know if you heard. It's like it's objective. Whatever your political proclivity are, it is an objective fact that there are challenges. I'll start easy. Challenges with AI and technology and how we handle it. I'm old enough to say, back in my day, to find sine and cosine, we flipped to the back of the book and looked at the table. I'm a bit of a Luddite, so I'd still rather do that than use my TI-83. By the way, when I was teaching, I was still using a TI-83, and I'm like, what is this? We have phones now, but what? Okay, I digress. But also politically, it's an objective fact that if our schools are losing money or they're being threatened to lose money, we have immigrant students who are under threat of deportation, whether or not they are doing the right thing, whether or not they are following the rules. They're under threat, even here at Lehman College and here in the Bronx. And we know because it happened, and it is happening. I think the question around free speech, wherever you land on it, it is a very challenging topic that we all need to grapple with. And the answer isn't going to come from heavy-handed top-down answers. It's going to come by what we derive together. But with all these challenges, I want to assure you that whatever the federal government is doing and whatever other elected officials are saying, I want you all to know in this audience that your local city council member, well, that's me, and the chair of the Higher Education Committee, also me, and the New York City Council, me plus 50, are committed to supporting our institutions of higher education and committed to supporting each and every one of you, our students and our faculty. And just to tell you a little bit of what that looks like, sometimes it looks like funding. So increasing funding for programs like ACE, for programs like CUNY Cares and ASAP and CUNY Reconnect, and all these programs that provide these wraparound supports, the food pantry here at Lehman College, the programs that help build community and help support one another. What was it, $820,000 for the bleachers? Where am I looking? Yeah. Did I get it right? Yeah, the bleachers. That's a fun one we got this year. But it's not just the money, right? It's what that support looks like and where it goes. And I want to share with you one of the pieces of legislation I passed. As a former special education teacher, this was really important to me because it's important to our students, where students with disabilities were going off to colleges like CUNY, coming back and saying, oh man, college is tough. I don't get extended time anymore. I don't get my accommodations anymore. I'm not entitled to them. Or I can't find the office. Or I don't have a copy of my IEP. So I passed a piece of legislation, first of its kind in the nation, to my knowledge, that simply says if you're a kid with a disability in high school, you can electronically transmit your IEP to the institution of your choice. And right now we are working with CUNY Central to formalize that process, to create a memorandum of understanding between the DOE and CUNY to make it more systemic, so our kids with disabilities can get all of the support that they deserve, so that you, as faculty, can provide all of our students, regardless of disability status, with the support and help and care they deserve, so they can then go out and help build community and help make our Bronx a better place. And as our immigrant students, and I say immigrant students, but I just want to kind of be clear, it's students of color are afraid. And when our president, federal president, don't worry. You know, the White House. Do you get a White House also? Or you don't? You don't get a White House. Okay. The guy in the White House. Or at Mar-a-Lago. when he started instituting his immigration policies, my team and I went out and immediately and started hosting Know Your Rights sessions. But we also started going out into the communities and handing out red cards and Know Your Rights flyers and information about my office. And the number of not even legal immigrants, but the number of people who were born in America who they felt could have been mistaken for immigrants, the physical reaction they had to me trying to hand them a Know Your Rights card just because whether they or someone they know needed it was to put their hands up and say, no, I'm here legally, and to start taking out ID. Like, there is a real fear among people. And now that our Supreme Court just said it's totally fine to racially profile, that fear is going to be magnified. So we have the immense task of continuing to assure our students that we are there for them. We in the City Council are funding initiatives like CUNY Citizenship Now. We have funded tens of millions of dollars for legal services for our immigrants, our immigrant New Yorkers, including, of course, our students here at Lehman College. And I say all this just to make sure all of you know that whatever is happening in the federal government, sometimes you're in your house, you're in your classroom, you're in your office, you're in the meeting with whomever, and you kind of look around, or you are not sure how to feel. You may feel alone. You may feel like you don't have the support and dignity that you and your students deserve, that you and your friends deserve. You may throw your hands up and think like, this is too much and too daunting. But anytime you feel alone, and that's everyone up here, anytime you feel alone and you feel like, everything going on is too daunting for me, it's too much, I want to remind you that your city government has your back, that your city council member has your back, the chair of the Higher Education Committee has your back, your local state senator has your back. Anytime you are feeling that way, you should rest assured that we are here for you. And we are here for you so that you can then be there for your students. So you can build that community, build that experience, and then one day they'll come back to you and say, thanks, Professor, for helping me learn how to tie a tie. Thank you all so much.
Thank you. I told you the achievements were plenty and very difficult to describe and share in a single day. And what I want to do now is present someone who truly exemplifies what we have been talking about this morning so far. And no, she's not going to sing nor dance salsa for us. But she can. She assured me that she can. But I do want to present someone who so deserves this award. She's phenomenal in so many respects. I've met with her several times, and when she shares her experience in the classroom and how she interacts with students and how fulfilled she is in her work, both inside and outside the classroom, I think Celia represents the best of us. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Celia Cruz, our Professor of the Year. All right, this way.
Shaking.
Thank you. I'll put this here so we can provide you with I'll hold it. It's heavy.
Yeah, it is. I think I might need another bottle of water. Those were very tough acts to follow, the president, the provost, and then the council member. Well, that's why they're in the top position, right? I should stop chasing that. So, President Fernando Delgado, Provost Jorge Silva Puras, our esteemed administrators, our beloved faculty, our valued staff members, distinguished guests, and of course, our beloved students, a very pleasant morning. So being named Teacher of the Year 2025 is both an incredible and humbling honor. And I'll admit, a terrifying one. Because it meant doing something I dread to do, which is writing speeches and messages. And I know some of you are timing me right now. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. You heard it. I wrote 3 messages, and this is the 3rd one. I think I partially blame this on a colleague in the math department. I knew he's here right now. He's laughing right now. Who, upon hearing about my award last May, he texted me and said this: "We knew it was coming soon from all the good things we hear about you, but get ready to do a lot of speeches." Of course, with a laughing emoji, okay? That message has haunted me ever since. And hearing our president and provost and council member speaking without a paper, that is indeed terrifying. But I'll do my best, okay? Public speaking has always been my nemesis, which is probably why I chose to major in mathematics. So don't worry, I'll keep this short. After all, we mathematicians love to go straight to the point. And I was actually told to speak in 10 minutes, so don't worry. I'll speak in 5 minutes and 1 hour. I want to begin where all gratitude begins, by thanking God for the chance to do the work that matters the most. I always tell my students, teaching is the best profession. For the strength to keep giving me my best, and for the gift of students who notice and inspire me every day here at Lehman College. This recognition is not mine alone. Of course, I thank the selection committee for this honor, and of course, for sparing me further interviews, which I'm also scared of. I heard before that they had to do an intensive interview with other candidates, but I thank you guys for not subjecting me to that anymore. I thank the administration for acknowledging and celebrating excellence at Lehman College. And of course, I'm deeply grateful to Dr. Joseph Farah. May you please rise to be recognized. And of course, you will not get away from this, Dr. Daniel Stockert. Please wave. And Dr. Wesley Pitts. For being the best department chairs one could hope for. They molded me, they supported me, they pushed me. They always appreciate what I do. To my fellow faculty and colleagues that I work with and collaborate with, especially, and I want you to stand up, Dr. Abab Abihana. Students call us the dynamic duo, right? Because we guard the math education program. We are the gatekeeper of that program. Thank you for the countless ways we learn from one another. I also extend my gratitude as well to our administrative staff, from the department staffs to the registrar's office, to graduate admissions, to the printing office, for making our work possible every single day. Sometimes we rarely recognize them, but they contribute a lot in all our successes in the college. And most importantly, I thank our students, and may I request all students to please rise so we can also celebrate you. All Lehman College students, if you can please rise. Thank you. You are the heartbeat of this college. Without you, this college would not be possible. You challenge us, you inspire us, and best of all, you teach us, often in ways we do not expect. Sometimes I tell my students, I learn more from you than you learn from me, and you have no idea. Teaching for 36 years has given me plenty of practice and plenty of lesson plans that didn't go as planned. But those moments taught me something profound. No two classes, no two students, and no two lessons are ever the same. That's why I have never repeated a lesson plan exactly. Not because I like making my life harder, but because I believe that learning is a living, breathing process, not a one-size-fits-all handout or PowerPoint. Each day, I find time to listen to my students, adapt, adjust, and grow alongside them. That is why I believe every teacher must also keep growing and leveling up professionally. Don't worry, this is my second and last page, and it's only half of the page. Okay. And I share in a welcome message to the new faculty orientation this past August, my teaching philosophy. And if you're hearing this the second time, just close your ears. Good teaching isn't about lecturing brilliantly for hours or solving every problem on the board. It's about creating the conditions for students to discover, wrestle with ideas, and build their own understanding. It's about curating good questions, setting high expectations with appropriate support, amplifying students' voices, and building relationships that say, I care about your success. As a math teacher, I naturally love numbers, and you know that I'm a mathematician. But my favorite numbers nowadays are not anymore in the textbooks. They are the countless aha moments I've witnessed. The number of students who discovered a new love for math and education, or for teaching. And the many times I've heard students say, why did I learn this in the middle school or high school? Things that I teach them. They always say that. Why did I not learn this in the middle school or high school? So in truth, I measure teaching with a different kind of math. Adding love for the subject, subtracting fear, multiplying confidence, and dividing opportunities so every student finds a path to success. And I don't care about spending extra hours beyond office hours. I don't care. We have Zoom anyway. I don't need to travel to school. Of course, this approach sometimes means I'm not the favorite teacher. I set high standards. I ask tough questions. And oftentimes respond to students' questions with yet another question. I expect students to justify their reasoning, explore multiple strategies, and prove their results. Why? Because learning happens best when students make their thinking visible or challenge ideas, mine and each other's, as often as possible. These habits build curiosity, confidence, and lifelong learning skills, which I think were emphasized by all our first three speakers. That's why I accept this award with joy and humility, not only for myself, but for every teacher who works quietly and relentlessly, often unseen and without recognition. Teachers who meet with their students after hours, who grade papers at dawn or at midnight, who rewrite lessons to better reach students, and who believe in their students' potential long before students believe in themselves. Definitely, many of you can say teaching is very challenging, messy, and exhausting. Do you guys agree with that? But it is also deeply beautiful. You also agree with that, correct? And it is endlessly rewarding. I wouldn't wish to be in any profession anymore. I just like to teach until I die, until I'm allowed to teach. Finally, I dedicate this award to my family who are not able to come today, and to my parents in heaven, who I hope are looking down from heaven right now, smiling and beaming with pride. This award belongs to every teacher who keeps believing in students, even when students don't yet believe in themselves. I think that's like 7 minutes, correct? Thank you so much.
And now Provost Silva Puras will present Lehman College's 2025 Adjunct Teacher of the Year Award to Michael Gulino, Adjunct Lecturer, Department of Health, Promotion, and Nutrition Sciences.
Isn't she wonderful? Give her another round of applause. And another wonderful professor is someone who was born, raised, educated, has worked in the Bronx most of his life. He's been teaching more years than most of our students have been alive. That's how far back the connection with Lehman goes. And while he cannot join us, we will hear from him via video. I would like to recognize as our Adjunct Teacher of the Year, Professor Michael Gulino. Please give him a round of applause.
Good evening. My name is Michael Gulino. I'm an adjunct professor in the Department of Health Education and Promotion. This September, I enter my 21st year as an adjunct instructor here at Lehman College. I'm also a 1992 graduate in the graduate school K-12 Health Education. Last year when I found out I had been selected as the Adjunct of the Year, first of all, obviously greatly appreciated, but I would say more like humbled because when I was here as a student, but also as a professional, I always found the faculty here at Lehman College to be outstanding. You get a combination of instructors and professors that have obviously a lot of technical knowledge, but also have real-world experience. And one thing I can say is that, after I left Lehman, I was well prepared for the profession. And I think that's the other big thing we can give to students. We really give them great opportunities to be prepared when they actually go from the classroom to the workforce. Now, the other thing I can also say as an adjunct professor, this is just a great place to learn. I mean, Lehman College, just even the beauty of the campus. I love coming down here and walking around. I was born in the Bronx, grew up in the Bronx, and it's just such a beautiful campus. But I think the other thing that I take away professionally is the fact that I just learned so much. I've learned so much from administrators here at the school, from other faculty members, but also from the students. I can say I learned so much from the students. So, and I would just say, I just wish you well in your educational goals and in your career. And I just want to say, you're at Lehman College, you're at a great place, and you will be well prepared when you go out into the workforce, and you make the difference for the future generations in the area of whatever you choose to do.
Thank you again. And when you do see Michael, please congratulate him, because he is phenomenal. Students love him, and he's made a difference in so many hundreds and thousands of lives here, Lehman students. So thank you so much, and we will continue with the program, and the party continues. Now we're going to recognize some really outstanding contributors to the college. So without further ado, I introduce you back to President Fernando Delgado.
I have a script for this one, so we'll be brief. It's always a pleasure to recognize extraordinary people who make Lehman run. Obviously, the lifeblood of an educational institution are our faculty, but as our outstanding professor pointed out, as faculty, we count on so many other people to make things happen before we even show up to the classroom. I know I have, in a different life where I was much more fragile in my perfection than I am now, that was the funny part, stood in front of a thing that looked like my dad's old stereo system and could not figure out how to get it to work, which was a problem because I had counted on the PowerPoint helping me teach that class today. And I did that kind of freak out thing that you do when the technology doesn't work. You pull everything out and then you forget where it all goes back in. And then I called IT, and some 19-year-old young lady showed up 5 minutes later, looked at me, smiled, shook her head, sighed, plugged everything back in, and hit the magic button at the bottom that turned everything on. And then turned and said, "You got it, Provost?" Yeah, I got it. IT was my lifesaver that day. But if I think back about it, the custodial people had made sure that the classroom was ready to be taught and was clean and safe. The people in the heating plant made sure that on that wintry day in Wisconsin, that there was enough heat to keep us all alive, because, polar vortex is real. The parking people and the grounds people had scraped off the snow and the ice from the parking lots. And the folks who normally take care of our lawns, which you don't do a lot during winters in Wisconsin, made sure that the sidewalks were clean. It truly does take a village to make sure that we get to do our direct mission. So, in the spirit of that, we have an opportunity here, the Provost, to celebrate the outstanding contributions of a number of our staff today. And please, as we begin, please join me in congratulating them as they each come forward and get their well-deserved recognition. I think it's at this point I turn it back to the Provost. Maybe?
Please welcome to the stage Betania Ortega, Interim Vice President of Administration and
Thank
Finance and Chief Financial Officer.
I'm so happy you did that. And remember what I said about taking care of my provost? And what was the first thing I did? I floundered and I turned to my provost and said, man, bail me out, bail me out. I'll do better, I'll do better. Bethania?
Thank you. Well, I get the mic because I was told. Good morning, Lehman community and distinguished guests. They're gone. It is my great honor to present this award to someone whose dedication and leadership have left a lasting mark on our campus, Robin Akenclaus. Where is she? Director of Campus Planning and Facilities. Robin has been at CUNY for 15 years. She first began her career at Bronx Community College in 2010 as the facilities officer. Since joining Lehman College in October 2019, I hope I got that right, okay, Robin has gone above and beyond to ensure that our buildings and grounds are safe, functional, welcoming for every member of our college community. During the pandemic, when many of us were working remotely, Robin was here every day, making sure the campus was maintained, usable for those that remain, and ready for our return. Her leadership has guided some of the most complex capital projects in our recent history, including the construction of the Nursing Education Research Practice Center and the ongoing facade renovation in Schuster Hall. What sets Robin apart, it's not just her technical expertise, but her foresight and unwavering commitment to our college community. She plans for the unexpected, anticipates potential challenges, and always puts the safety of and well-being of our students, faculty, and staff first. Because of her vision, tireless work, Lehman College continued to grow and thrive as a place to work, teach, and learn. Today's recognition is especially meaningful because Robin has announced a retirement effective next spring 2026. While we will miss her steady guidance and remarkable leadership, we are grateful for the legacy she leaves behind, one of excellence, foresight, and care for this campus and everyone who calls it home. Robin, on behalf of the Lehman College community, it is my privilege to present to you with this award and to thank you for everything you have done to make Lehman College a better place. Congratulations, and wish you the very best in the next chapter of your career.
Please welcome Dr. Herbert Broderick III, Professor, Department of Art.
Oh boy. So I see the colleagues are reading from their cell phone, and this is my 47th year at Lehman College. So I'm going to be reading from some paper, kind of old-fashioned stuff. Even my gown is worn out from 47 convocations and 47 commencements. So, President Delgado, I left out the daughter jokes, but, and Provost Silva Puras, deans and fellow faculty, distinguished political representatives, students of Lehman College, and distinguished guests. First of all, congratulations to John Bellardo on the receipt of this award for his outstanding service to the college. Many adjectives come to mind in trying to characterize John Bellardo, our chief laboratory technician in the art department of Lehman College since 1997. Reliable, honorable, thoughtful, hardworking, dedicated, talented, trustworthy, but probably the most inclusive would be conscientious. John has a very broad job description, most of which has probably never been put on paper, assisting faculty in the diverse range of studio activities. Whoa! Studio activities. There we go. We need some technical assistance. Okay. Assisting faculty, studio activities that take place in the department. Backup in the painting and drawing studios, printmaking, sculpture, ceramics, and even on occasion when the need arises, computer imaging and art history. Making sure that OSHA standards are observed, attending to the myriad implications of a very hands-on, physically challenging range of exceptional experiential activities that go on in a multifaceted studio art program. Not even in a chemistry department, with all due respect, is there as wide-ranging a job description. John attends to all of these challenges with expertise, grace, and most importantly, a conscientious attitude. And all the professorial members of the studio art department, most of whom possess an MFA degree, that's Master of Fine Arts, not multiple factor, not multiple factor application. Okay. As does John, who is a talented artist in his own right, as an outstanding prize-winning sculptor, including the important commission to create the bronze sculpture displayed on campus that many of you pass every day of the college's namesake, Governor Herbert H. Lehman. John conscientiously and with great personal humility services the needs of the professorial staff and their students. John has mentored many of the studio art majors in all areas of the department, including a number of prize-winning students, bringing citywide attention to Lehman College and its outstanding studio art program. I remember one particularly poignant event when a Lehman student who had been a sculpture major working with John as her instructor, won first prize at the National Arts Club annual New York City Art Schools competition, where Lehman was represented along with a number of other prestigious private institutions, such as Pratt Institute, School of Visual Arts, Parsons. Sorry to be invoking them, but the point is these distinguished institutions. Standing proudly in the audience when the prize was announced, I overheard someone standing next to me, "Where is this Lehman College?" Participating in department-wide critiques, organizing and mounting student and faculty exhibitions, handling the department's multifaceted OTPS budget for supplies, organizing and scheduling live models for the painting and drawing programs. What other department needs to schedule and get hold of live models? Okay. The list goes on and on. And John does it all with intelligence and grace. I cannot think of anyone in my 47 years here at Lehman College more deserving of recognition for all that he is and he does than John Bellardo. Among his many accomplishments as a practicing artist in his own right, John will have a recent work based on Dante's Purgatorio on display in Florence, in the Sala d'Armi of the Palazzo Vecchio, across from Ghiberti's famous Doors of Paradise this November 1st to 12th. So, pardon my Italian, but congratulazioni to John. Felicidades, Lehman's own Michelangelo. Bravo. The photo op. We gotta get the photo op. Yeah.
Please welcome Lisa Moelim, Director of Undergraduate Academic Advisement, Division of Enrollment Management.
You're right, Bethania, it's not easy. Good morning, Lehman College. Thank you for that. President Delgado, if you'll allow me, I'm going to take a page from your book and go off the cuff just for a moment. You got a daughter too, huh? I do have a daughter, but this will not be a story about my daughter. We've heard so much about the incredible work that happens in the classroom here at Lehman College, and that is, of course, the core of why we are all here. President Delgado, as well as Professor Cruz, did mention the amazing support that is offered by our staff. And as I look into this audience, and forgive me, the lights are very bright, so I won't be able to mention all the areas that I see here, but I see my amazing colleagues from the offices of admissions, from communications, from the registrar, from student persistence initiatives, from instructional support services, from career services, from College Now, scholarships, IT. Can we take a moment to thank all of our staff members whose support and dedication facilitate the learning that happens in the classroom and ensures that our students have the best possible experience here at this college. Thank you for that. Okay, and now I transition, as you did. It is with great enthusiasm that I stand here today to introduce someone truly extraordinary, Diane Atkins. This year's recipient of the Outstanding Contribution to the College Award. Diane's passion, dedication, and tireless commitment to student success have not just made a difference, they have transformed our college community. Diane is more than an academic advisor. She is a trusted collaborator, a steadfast advocate, and a source of strength and encouragement for countless students navigating their academic journey. Her work with students majoring in health sciences has reshaped how we approach advising, setting a new standard for excellence. When Diane led a pilot initiative to align general advisors with specific academic departments, she did more than create a new model for advising. She built bridges between students, faculty, and staff that were very long overdue. Her leadership transformed that pilot into a lasting model now used college-wide, strengthening communication, streamlining processes, and most importantly, ensuring that students are truly seen and supported. But Diane's impact goes beyond systems and strategies. It is also deeply personal. One student, just before graduating with her degree in health services administration, shared this with Diane. "You are more than just an advisor. You are a phenomenal person and a beacon of hope." Remember that? Faculty members echo that sentiment, describing Diane as a shining star. They praise her unmatched empathy, her attention to detail, and her deep, unwavering commitment to both students and the college. Whether she's building communities of practice among advisors, advocating during curricular changes, or gently guiding students through the hardest parts of their academic path, Diane does so with heart, with clarity, and with an unshakable sense of purpose. For all these reasons, and for so many more, Diane truly exemplifies what this award is all about. Her work has left a measurable and lasting imprint on our college, and her care has left an immeasurable one on the lives of so many of our students. And so please join me in celebrating and congratulating Diane Atkins, a truly deserving honoree of this year's Outstanding Contribution to the College Award.
please welcome Dr. Elgloria Harrison, Dean of the School of Health and Sciences, Human Services, and Nursing, and Professor for the Institute for Health Equity, Administration, and Technology.
They set us in order of paper, computers, or cell phones, paper. I'm a paper person. Good morning, everyone. I am Elgloria Harrison. I am the Dean for the School of Health Science, Human Services, and Nursing. And certainly to all of our platform guests and the ones that were here, that's gone now, I want to bring greetings to this occasion. It gives me great pleasure to say a few words on behalf of the School of Health Science and Human Services about Ramon Belliard. Ramon, I don't know what we would do in HSUN without you. I'm just going to say that right up front. You have become an indispensable asset to this school. And many of us depend heavily on your guidance to get us through that everyday nuances of the CUNY systems. If you all don't know, Ramon is the go-to guy for all systems CUNY. And you cannot have him in your school. We are thrilled that Ramon was selected as one of this year's recipient of the Outstanding Contribution to the College Awards. Ramon is very deserving of this award, and we are so very proud to work alongside a trusted colleague who demonstrates the 3 Ps: patience, poise, and persistence. Patience that we get it, poise to keep us cool while we learn it, persistence that we finally got it. And for that, Ramon, I want to thank you on behalf of HS2N. Thank you so much. Expect me to say something longer. No.
Now, please welcome Favor Agunwa, President of the Student Government Association, who will provide closing remarks.
Oh my God. Hi. Good morning, faculty, staff, and of course, my fellow students. You guys can hear me right? Good. My name is Favor Agunwa, a biology student on the pre-health track, and I'm grateful to stand here today as your student government president. Thank you. To our returning students, welcome back. Your presence, your drive, and the energy you bring is vital to keeping our community strong. The fact that you're here again proves your commitment, and I hope you allow our newbies to learn from your experiences. To our new and transfer students, congratulations and welcome to Lehman. You're officially part of the family now. You've worked hard to get to this point, and today marks the start of something big. You're not just beginning classes, you're starting a journey that's going to shape who you are and the path you take in life. Be proud of that. Each of us has our own path. Some of us are returning, and some of us are just getting started. But no matter where you are on your journey, you've already proven your determination. Now, it's time to take that same energy and channel it into everything this year has to offer. As your student government president, I must tell you, college is more than just assignments, more than just deadlines, and more than just grades. It's about people, the friends you laugh with, the classmates you team up with, and the mentors who will push you to think bigger. It's the people sitting next to you in class, the random conversations that turn into friendships, the professors who will challenge your thinking, and the staff who will quietly support you when you need it. Some connections will feel personal, while others feel a bit more professional, but both are equally important. Every person you meet could play a part in your growth, so stay open. As we commence this academic year, I want to urge all of you to walk through every door opened. When opportunities come your way, whether it's a club, an internship, or a leadership role, just take the chance and try something new. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Every step forward, every conversation you have is a chance to grow and build toward the future you want. I stand here as an example of what you can do by taking a chance. When I first came to Lehman, I never would have thought I'd be standing here in front of this amazing crowd filled with future successes and current successes and telling them to take a chance and take advantage of their time here. But with the encouragement I've gotten from both my fellow students, friends, and staff, I've been able to step into roles unimagined, both off and on campus. Lehman is filled with opportunity, and I want you to take advantage of all of it. You've probably heard it a million times, but here's one more. Check your emails, attend the resource fairs, and please join those clubs. I'm not just telling you that because they forced me up here to give this speech. I'm a living testament to what you can gain by staying engaged with our amazing campus. And let's not forget the people behind the scenes who keep us moving forward, our dedicated faculty and staff. They do so much more than keep everything organized and grade our papers. Lean into their knowledge, thank them for their guidance, and let's show them that their investment in us is worth it. So, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. As your SGA president, my team and I are here to represent you, to listen and to make sure this campus is a place where every student feels seen and valued. But more than just that, I want you all to remember that we are in this together. This community is all of ours to build. And if we want an environment that is welcoming, connected, and exciting, it starts with us showing up for each other. A strong, connected community makes each of us stronger, and the strength of that community is dependent on us. So as we step into this new year, I encourage you to be bold, be curious, and most importantly, be open to the experiences and people around you. Let's make this year not just about academics, but about growth, connection, community, and building a brighter future. I want to wish each and every one of you a happy, successful, and fulfilling year. Let's make it one to remember. Thank you.
Thank you for joining Lehman College's 2025 Convocation. Now please stand for the President's Party and Faculty Recessional. You are welcome to join a reception in the faculty dining room immediately after the program.